everyone, my name is Moonrain and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to play with 3 common spreads and add a little extra layers to them using Lenormand and geomancy. And the goal is to see how these systems build a story together and how geomancy can give you a final verdict in each spread. You'll notice how the verdict sharpens the message of each of these 3 sample spreads we'll explore today. So let's begin. Alright, so we're going to try a mini spread on a situation here. So the very first one I want to do is about career. So let's say we're doing a question in regards to your role in the situation, maybe some obstacles, support, and what kind of steps you want to take. So it looks like there's a lot of cups here, so that I would assume there's an emotional tie to all of this in regards to your work. The first card being your role, it looks like you work closely with somebody else. Maybe you have a partner in that situation or a co-worker, and just this is the first time I've ever noticed this, but I see that he's kind of like grabbing onto the other cup. So that might be you, where you're taking on more than you should. Maybe the other co-worker is kind of like pushing their work onto you. An obstacle here that I see is there's a wish fulfillment, and perhaps because it's more on the shadowy aspect of the spread, I would assume that you don't necessarily have certain goals that you've met in this job. And then when we have the Knight of Cups here, the support comes from somebody helping you in a more diplomatic way, or maybe you needing to embody that type of energy. And lastly, that step here of coming into your own, voicing or communicating your needs or boundaries here, but more in a diplomatic way, as I see the Knight coming into the King of Swords. Now that we have like a general feel in regards to this particular type of spread, now we're going to add geomancy, and I'm going to leave a PDF below so that you can apply this for yourself. And it's very easy. We're just going to use the numbers here. So the first number that I see is 2 of cups, so I'm gonna, sorry, that was really hard. So we have 2 here, which is even. So when you have 2 even, we're going to do 2 dots, and then we have number 9, which is odd, which gives us 1 dot. And then we have the Knight of Cups, which I will attribute to as 12. And I will put that as even, so that's 2 dots, and then King as 14, and that will be also even. That's 2 dots as well. So we only had 1 odd number in all of the situation, okay? And if you look at the PDF that I'll leave down below, this dot structure or figure is Rubius. So if we have Rubius here, this is chaotic energy. Think of Mars energy. So to me, this shows that this is very chaotic, turbulent energy, and it shows maybe that turbulence comes from that situation with your coworker, but we're able to harness that. And the way, or the ability to harness that, is in a very diplomatic way, making sure that you're setting your boundaries, communicating what you need in order to have that wish fulfillment that you have here in the Nine of Cups. So very easy, very simplistic, and it gives you a little bit more depth into that reading here, and it gives you a little bit more of an advice as well as that final energy. So even though the final energy here looks like it's chaotic energy, you're able to use that and figure out a way to direct that energy in regards to cutting, not necessarily cutting ties, but making sure you have that clear boundary, making sure you're able to speak up and use that energy. So yeah, what do you guys think? It's pretty simple, right? Okay, let's move on to the next spread. All right, so the very next spread we're going to do is a monthly spread. I'm going to add Lenormand here, and I'm going to show you exactly how to integrate geomancy. So let's first shuffle the cards here, and the way that I'm going to do it is 1 card represents 1 week of the month. So we'll have 4 cards in total here to represent the whole month, and then 1 overall arching theme for that month. All right. Now, if we were to read this particular type of spread, I would begin here. The first week of the month, it looks like you're going to be recognizing your efforts. Overall, I do notice that this might also be in regards to career. We have here the 7 of Pentacles, showing like you're, kind of integrating how well you're doing something and just seeing if it's reaping the results that you, or cultivating exactly what you want, right? Here we have that wish fulfillment card as well. That's coming into the 2nd week. And so it might be, once you're able to have that recognition or success, recognition from others, this is exactly what you were hoping for, and you feel a little bit more emotionally satisfied in regards to that, right? So it's kind of like seeping into that 2nd week. The 3rd week, now we have like that integration of the emotional aspect of all of this as well. And then lastly, at the very end, we have the Hanged Man. Maybe all of these things is kind of changing your viewpoint in regards to this. Now, typically when I read Lenormand, I kind of weave it into a sentence, right? However, I've been watching a lot of videos from Kara Tarot for Enlightenment, I believe is her channel name, and I'll link it down below. And she kind of uses this more as a cap, or kind of like as a way to kind of get a little bit more depth into the reading with tarot. So I kind of wanted to dig into that. And then at the very end, we were just going to add a little bit of geomancy and see how different it is from just reading the tarot versus adding a little bit of Lenormand, and at the end we're layering that geomancy, the monthly spread here. Okay. Very interesting. So here we have the tower. So tower can mean institutions. It can literally mean the location of your job. So here we're seeing that you are getting recognition in regards to your career, and maybe you're having some sort of party or some sort of celebration, and or the fact is just everybody there is just giving you those accolades in regards to whatever you have done in order to receive that recognition. Here we're seeing that sun, right? That sun is that vitality, that joy, and it's just seeping into that second week of you just getting that recognition, you just feeling like, you know, you feel fulfilled, right? Here we're seeing the cross. The cross is a pretty negative card. The cross signifies some sort of burden that you have to go through. And maybe once this has kind of like seeped into that second week, by the end of the second and going into your third, you're having some sort of problem, some sort of burden, which causes you to kind of introspect in regards to your emotion. And lastly, we have the Hanged Man, where we have the whip here. The whip is about repetition. It could mean some sort of conflict or discord. So maybe there is some sort of conflict coming in regards to the fourth week, which causes you to have to change your perspective in order for things to get better. Now, we do here have some advice. The solution, which is symbolized by the key, tells you to kind of sit back and look at, you know, how you've been doing things, and kind of fact checking, making sure that things are okay and that you're doing it in the correct process in order for things to materialize, or for things to come to the way that you've planned. Now, as you can see, Lenormand is more of the external versus the internal aspect. Like tarot is great with psychology, while Lenormand is more like just the external aspects of life, and very easy, blunt, and what's really happening in your day-to-day situation. So I thought because of we're adding these two type of things, we would get kind of the internal aspects of things versus the external. So I'm going to put down here internal versus external. And so the internal we said would be your tarot, versus the external, which is your Lenormand. So if we were to just look at tarot, let's look at the 4 weeks that we have here. So this number is 6, so that is even. And then here we have 9, which is odd. And then the queen is 11, 10. Yeah, 11. So that's odd. And then we have the Hanged Man, which is 12, which is even. So we have conjunction. And I'll get to that in just a minute. And then let's look at the Lenormand aspect, which is the external, what's going outside, or your environment. We have 19, which is odd, so that's 1 dot. 31, which is odd, so we only have 1 dot. 36, which is even, so 2 dots. And then 11, which is 1 dot. So this gives us Puella. Now, the internal aspect here is showing that you're kind of in need to bring things together, making sure that you're bonding with somebody else, making some sort of apology, proposal, or anything in regards to just making sure that your ties, your relationship is in harmony. So that's what conjunctio is. It's a bringing up together. So think of it more like the 2 of Cups, kind of like with the Page of Cups. Now, in regards to the external aspects, we have Puella, which is like beauty, attraction, charm, and diplomacy. So I would consider that more like the Empress. So it would talk about like desire, appearances, and grace. So in regards to all of this, it's showing us that in regards to you internally, you're trying to make things right with somebody else in regards to that conjunctio, whether that somebody else is a specific person versus work. Just because we are not seeing a lot of people cards interacting with you, I would assume that this is in regards to work. So you're getting those accolades, that wish fulfillment, but something went wrong somewhere in the line of the third week, and we're seeing that that sense of you trying to make things work, especially after seeing that discord coming in from the whip and you trying to kind of change your perspective. So that is what we're getting from the geomancy, from just the tarot. Now, if we were looking at the external aspect of things, like what is the energy in regards to the external aspect, here we have the Lenormand. And when I added all these figures together, we got Puella. So the Puella, like I mentioned before, it's kind of like the Empress energy. So in a sense, it's not necessarily just about beauty, it's also about that fruition, making sure we're planting that seed to make things a little bit better. So it looks like once you're able to kind of make things right in regards to that discord that we see in the fourth week, you're going to be able to plant a seed and cultivate something beautiful. So perhaps there's some sort of discord in regards to work after you receive that recognition that can stem from jealousy, a coworker, or something of that nature. But eventually things will actually get better and you'll see that you're able to cultivate something beautiful out of this. And here we have that Lenormand kind of giving you a piece of advice here in regards to kind of just sit back and see how things have been progressing and what you've done, and kind of take things slowly and just kind of fix things as they come. So that's what I got from the monthly spread here. So what do you guys think? I think the Lenormand, making it go from 1 week each instead of reading it together is really elegant, and I love that. So thank you, Cara, for doing that. I really love playing around and seeing how different ways we can use, our divination sets. So let's move on to the yearly spread and how we can work with that as well. Alright, so let's say that we did our astrological wheel, and the reason they're kind of grouped into three, I'll explain in just a little bit. We're not going to go over the interpretations for each and every card. I just want to show you a very simple way of just using geomancy as your final verdict for the astrological wheel. So let's say we have the first, and I just divided it into three. So the very first one, let's say you got an even number when you added all three cards. So here I'm gonna just put even, so you put 2 dots. Let's say right here you added them up and they came out to be odd, so I put 1 dot instead. And let's say that these 3 here were even, 3 on this side, so I'll put even, 2 dots. And then the very last set here, let's say, let's put odd. So this is acquisitio, if you look at the PDF that I'll put down. So acquisitio means gain. So there's something that you're going to gain here in this particular, this year. So that could be your final verdict. So perhaps you were concerned in regards to a promotion, or gaining something in regards to finances or a partner. Like this would all be a positive verdict. However, if it was about losing weight or losing something, acquisition would not be the best in that regard. However, acquisitio in regards to tarot, or I mean the tarot astrological spread overall, would be a very positive card here. So that's one way to do it. Another way would be to just use specific houses. So let's say we do the first house, which is yourself, the fourth house, 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth house here, the seventh house, the Chariot, and let's say the 10th house as well. 8, 9, 10. Am I missing one? All right, counted incorrectly here. Okay, so let's say that you did the 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th house. This would be you, your partner, your home or your roots, as well as your career. And you were to put this all together. So here we have the Knights is 12. So remember, Knights is 12. So that's even, so that's 2. Then we have 5, and that's odd, so that's 1 dot. And then we have the Chariot, which is 7, which is odd again. And then we have the 2, and that is even. So here we have conjunctio. I keep putting N at the conjunctio. Okay, so conjunction is a coming together. So again, I'll put the PDF so you understand the different meanings in regards to each figure here. So again, that's bringing together. And from the looks of it, in regards to here we have that rift and moving forward. Conjunctio at the end is a really positive thing. So despite these rifts or conflicts, there is a coming together. So this energy here is definitely positive in regards to the different houses that we have, especially when we have that sense of like trying to balance things together, and we have that Knight of Swords. So very, very good final verdict in regards to the energy when you add all of these together. So that's another way to use it. So we can always use the astrological wheel for a very specific, particular question, whether it's love, marriage, career, finances, any single question. I think I have a video in regards how to use it as a horary wheel, and you can check out that video. I'll see if I can link it as well. Kind of new, so hopefully I'll be able to figure that out. But you could also use it in a way that you're just picking out 4 particular houses and kind of getting that general feel for this. So what do you guys think? Being able to use geomancy in a very simple way, as opposed to using a full shield chart, because you could do that, but it takes a little bit longer, and I do have a video on that as well. But this is just a way to just incorporate geomancy into your readings and kind of getting an overall energy in regards to all of this. So I guess that completes like our exercise and kind of adding these layers to the spreads. The geomancy, like when we get that final verdict, it's kind of like the final word. But that doesn't mean, you know, what you work with that energy is what matters the most, obviously. But if you use tarot, Lenormand, geomancy, Sibylla, Kepler, Deste, and just kind of integrating those together, I would love to know and hear how you combine them and how you practice. Please share your methods. I would love to see your VR or just a comment below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hope to see you next time.